Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence, so I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
16, getting down with Fresh Out in a Prison Talk. You know, there's a side of the whole criminal justice system that they don't really show on social media. You might see little clips of when somebody's getting sentenced or when somebody's in jail after the fact or somebody's sitting in one of those rooms telling. But when you have to stand before a judge and you hear them start giving out some numbers, and those numbers are numbers you're going to have to deal with: 20, 30, 15, 10, life. The weight of that is heavy, and you might not understand the weight of that until after you go sit down and reflect. And that reflection might not come till maybe 2 or 3 years into your sentence. You know, most guys, when they're sitting there waiting to get transferred to whatever penitentiary they're going to do their time at, they don't really think about the time, their life going forward, their relationships. You're kind of like, it's almost like they took everything you did in life and it was wiped clean. Literally, like you're erased from the real world, but you still exist. You're a walking corpse. The people that you used to interact with, the people that maybe gave you the time of day now because you're not around and they heard about how much time you're doing, they pretty much have wrote you off. Your kids are going to grow up without you. Your mom, your grandmother, your little brothers and sisters are going to have to figure out life without you. Yeah, you can get visits if somebody has the time to drive out to one of these way out institutions in the middle of nowhere and go through the metal detectors and take the shoes off and go through the screening process and have the money to stay in a hotel and all that stuff. And you can say, well, why don't nobody come see me? Well, people have lives and they're working. They have families. Nobody talks about any of this. And then you have the guys that are doing the time and then they also told on somebody. So they're still having to do the time, but yet they have this on their jacket now and they got to deal with that. And they never know when that's going to come to light. You told on somebody and you're now having to live among people who live by a certain code, and you're thinking, well, I told, so the government or the state should look out for me. They don't give a damn. They might put you somewhere you think is safe, but paperwork travels, man. People talk. That guy, they send him on one side of the country, they send you on another side of the country. It's amazing how words can travel from one side of the country to another through just kites. So you might want to think before you do some of the stuff you're doing out there, or if you're in the streets and you thinking like, okay, if something happens, this is what I'm gonna do. You might want to play out all those scenarios and think about the consequence to those actions. I know a lot of you, I'm not trying to, sit here and convince you to do anything other than think about your actions, whatever whatever you're doing in the streets or, what have you, that's your business. I'm not here to try to preach to you. I'm just trying to make you think a little bit about the game and the big perspective. And especially like a lot of you guys out there who are doing a lot of the shootings and um, violent robberies. See, when you add violence to your charge, it puts you in a whole nother category. See, all my charges, for the most part, have had some type of violence in them. So that puts you in a place where there's other violent people. See, if you were just using paperwork and stealing stuff through fraud, you might get lucky, get a slap on the hand and go to a camp, do your time there. But if you had anything with a pistol, you had anything where you use force, you hurt somebody, you go into where they have guys that have also hurt people and they have that violent mentality. And you're going to have to deal with that violent mentality. You're going to learn how to play chess, not checkers, because if you don't, you're going to get your wig split. But these are realities that people don't talk about. Everybody just talks about, oh man, this guy, he sold this much drugs, or this guy did this much time. But the things in between are the emotional roller coaster, the psychological, the depression, the anxiety, the feeling of uncertainty. I was just talking with a homie of mine who's been down for a minute now, and he said the last year he spent basically the year on lockdown. And lockdown isn't like coming out to eat, during the day and then going back to your cell. Lockdown means that they're bringing the food and they're sliding it through the metal slots. You're not leaving. And he said, man, this spot was a medium high, but they're still rocking like that. They're still kicking it off. Dudes are still getting their heads busted. So it ain't everywhere that guys are just walking around, letting shit slide, and everybody's cool. And there's spots where dudes are literally on lockdown majority of their time, and every time they come out, somebody's getting dealt with. You know, you got to handle your business. My partner, he's no joke in the game, and he said, a couple of times he had to take care of business, man. And these are the things that nobody on the street can help you with. You dealing with somebody, you're gonna have to deal them face to face, hand to hand with some violence to get them to comply. Some people don't want it. They're not about to talk. It ain't no talking. You're gonna have to put hands on them, and that's a reality in there. And ain't no pistols. You might have a blinky, but if you choose to use a blinky, you best be prepared what comes with that. Now you got to watch your back everywhere you go. You're dealing with people who are talking about, oh, at the last spot, blah, blah, blah. So, everybody knows your business in prison when you travel. People find out. But these are the things that nobody talks about, the things that everybody kind of just glosses over. And I just want you guys to think about some of this stuff. You youngsters out there who are just, wilding out, doing all these different things and thinking, oh, I'm going to be up in there with my homies. And you got homies in there, yeah, they'll pretend to be down with you, this and that, but man, I've seen dudes, their own homeboys cross them up. I've seen dudes who, you know, you don't know if this guy, what type of mentality he's in, what kind of time he's on, burn his best friend and leave him out to dry. Get him caught up in a case where he's now, liable for a debt that this guy took on. And it's just a nasty situation, man. A lot of predators. So just think about it, man. You guys out here, you young guys doing dirt, putting yourself in harm's way, and maybe you might want to start making some different choices, man. Because you get in there, you may realize that you're really. I'm big hurt, and I have over a decade of experience in the prison system. Yeah, I've done a lot of time, made a lot of stupid mistakes, but that's why I'm here with you today, educating you on the Mastermind program by Fresh Out. See, they don't give you a manual when you go to jail on how to survive. They don't tell you how to go take a shower, where to sit at when you go to chow, what to do when you have mail call, how to handle your commissary. See, we cover that and a multitude of other topics that are very important, because if you do the wrong thing, you can get your damn wig split. We have over 100 million views as of date on our YouTube channel, but we've put and condensed all this knowledge into this mastermind program so that you can provide your client with a winning chance. Do yourself a favor and your client a favor and sign them up for our program so they don't have to get their wig split and they can make it out alive.
Lockdown's over. Get your yard time in.
But smelly ball sack and a funky hoo-ha. Big Herc said, wash that ass. Pick you up a t-shirt at freshoutseries.com.